Welcome back to another episode of Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9, The Buzz.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are all the way back and we have another powerful week for y'all for Manhood Mindset. We're down here in Statesboro, Georgia Southern University, of course, WVGS 91.9, The Buzz. I'm your host, Big Chris. Where you from, Big Dog? Who are you? Where you from, Big Dog?
Man, I'm Dale from Riverdale, man. I'm from the great city of Riverdale, Georgia, man. I'll say it one more time. For
sure. I'm from the east side of Illinois, GA, man. Decatur, Southeast Atlanta. You know how it is, man. So we got a good show for y'all. Just in case you missed last week, we had a great show last week. We had a refocused counseling mindset last week when we talked to Ty Johnson and Paulette Shavers. Thank you all so much for coming by from Manhood Mindset and talked about the importance of mental health and being able to talk about very important subjects in our community so we can go ahead and get some of this real work done so we can go ahead and matriculate as a nation, try to move forward and try to better ourselves each and every day. I got a lot of help out of it. I really looked at it, the video and listened to the audio a little bit more, and I changed a little bit of my life and how I approach things as well. So I got in contact with a couple of people who were listening to the show, and they benefited from it, so I really appreciate them for their support and all of that good stuff, man. So we're having a good day. I'm having a good day. Had a eventful day, I would say that. Good meaning that it's still on and popping. I'm still breathing, still living, still absorbing information and all that good stuff, man. So what kind of day did you have, bro?
Man, I had a pretty terrible day. I've been sick all day.
That's good to know.
In bed all day.
That's good to know. Sick in what way?
Just not feeling good. I haven't been feeling myself today.
For sure. You dealing with sinus issues and stuff like that, like cold?
No, stomach issues, man. I thoroughly scrubbed and washed my hands before I...
Hey, it's no problem. I've been sick before.
I didn't want to let nobody down, so I just came up here to, do what I have to do, but that's why I look like I'm kind of under weather a little bit.
Like you in Assassin's Creed, the big cause of it. That's what's up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a good show for y'all this evening. Very special individual, very upstanding gentleman that I had the pleasure to get to know for the first time, like last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. And I'd like to go ahead and let him introduce himself, and then we're going to get right into the interview. Today is going to be quite interpersonal, so hopefully you guys can tune in, and we're going to send out a number in a minute, and you can also tweet us or whatnot, so if you got any questions, we'll go live. So, sir, who are you, where you from, what you do?
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Mike Francois, also known as Sabo World. For those that don't know, Sabo stands for Strength Acquired by Overcoming.
Wow. And
that's a name that I took on a long time ago before I even gave the name any real meaning.
Okay.
But that's the name that I like to go by. And, when people hear the name, they always wonder where it came from or where it originated from. And I love telling them that meaning. And I love, using it as my name because it does have some type of meaning to it.
Right.
I'm from the real A, just so y'all know. I'm from the real A.
What's the real A?
Augusta, Georgia. I'm from the real A.
I respect it.
That's the real A. Why you say the real A, bro? There's like a hostility in there.
That's just home for me, man. Everybody call us country down in Augusta, but it probably is country.
Hey, man, if you in Georgia, you country. Some people
true indeed.
Some people just got more crime and traffic.
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Just because I got better Wi-Fi don't mean I can make it. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
That's how we roll, man. So you from Augusta, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
So how did you find yourself in Statesboro, GA, man?
Man, I used to come down here a lot. Mm-hmm. Like back when I was in high school, we might come down here to go party a lot, man.
Right.
Around like 2013, 2014, I was still partying, hitting the clubs down here, just doing whatever, really wilding, honestly. And I had just made a decision. I was like, man, I didn't want to work at a factory no more.
Right. And
I wanted to go back to school. And I had been trying to go back to school since 2011. That was my first year in college. And I had been trying to go back to school, and it was just tough. And I don't even remember how I even found out about East Georgia down here, honestly. But once I did, I was just like, I'm going to make this, my next best move. And 2015, January, I found myself here.
Really?
And I've been here ever since. It's been honestly, no lie, the best decision on my life. And Statesboro, even though it ain't that far from where I consider to be my home,
right,
it's been the furthest away that I needed to be. It wasn't a better place I could have been.
Right.
honestly.
I can understand that. I can definitely understand it. So a lot of people find themselves at universities and they had no idea that it was going to start off like this, right? And what a lot of people may not understand is, sometimes your destination can get you a little confused and kind of throw you off a little bit. And it could, it kind of bewilder you if I'm not, for lack of a better word. So how did you handle the transition though? Was there any time in your life when you were transitioning where it got too confusing for you? Like, man, I made a mistake, or when did you find out that this was the right decision?
I guess when I came down here, honestly.
Sure.
I remember the day I decided that I did want to go back to school.
Okay.
I was working at a factory called Easy Go, making golf carts. And I had just got put on permanent.
Okay.
And I went to an employee meeting. And I remember they were like just giving out little awards and plaques for people that had been working there for like time periods of 5 years, 10 years, and so on.
Gotcha.
And the longest amount of time somebody had been there was like 42 years, and they clapped for them. And then they gave him a coupon to Chick-fil-A. And mentally, I was like, yeah, this ain't where I want to be at for no 40 years. And then I can't even afford to purchase what I'm building, what I'm creating. So mentally, I was already gone. But like once I came down here, I think that's when I kind of knew it. Because everything really was horrible when I first moved down here.
Wow.
It was like I didn't have a job. I couldn't find a job. And then it was just like I didn't know I was going to pay for school. I really came down here just on faith. Okay. And like that test of faith was really what just kind of let me know, like, okay, I really do want to do this. Okay. I ain't just taking the easy road and just going back to Augusta and going back to the job. Like I stuck it out, and everything started flowing in motion. And that just kind of like, it opened up the door in my mind, like, yeah, like you good, bro. This where you supposed to be at. For sure.
So did you have anybody like create like a narrative for you that kind of went the other way from what you just told us? Did you have anybody create doubts in your mind or anything like that? Like, man, no, you shouldn't be going down there?
No. I think a lot of people, or the few people that I told about I wanted to return to school, pretty much was supportive. Of course, my parents, they never forced me to go to school, but they were definitely supportive when I decided to go back to school.
Right.
But I think the only person that probably ever created doubt in my head was me, honestly. Me.
Really?
Yeah.
And why would you do that?
I'm my biggest critic. I think logically sometimes at the wrong times, or too realistically and not enough on faith, if that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, like
too realistic.
Yeah.
That's interesting. What is too realistic?
It's like when you're aware of all the bad that can come from a situation, and then you just try to like play chess in your head with all the options. And it's like, it's so many options that could possibly go wrong. Okay. And it's like, even if that's the case, you can't just stop yourself, because every time you make a move, there's a possibility of something going wrong.
Right.
And just for me, overthinking, I think, overthinking the reality of situations. That's kind of the definition of like just being too realistic with myself sometimes.
Repeat what Sabo stands for again.
Strength acquired by overcoming.
By overcoming,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And when you put in the word overcoming something, I'm thinking about barriers that you face. Can you elaborate on some of the barriers that you've seen in your life growing up? They could be tragic, non-tragic. They can be serious. It can be anywhere on the spectrum. Anything you'd like to share?
Man, I mean, from the simplest things to being born a black man, honestly.
Okay.
That's a hurdle itself.
In what way?
Almost everywhere, in my opinion, when it comes to the corporate America working. It's, you already have people doubting you and saying that you're lazy, you're not gonna work hard, you're gonna be the statistical dope boy who gon', you know what I'm saying? Just like all the regular stuff. Like, people expect you to fail. I got a tattoo on my arm that says "Born to lose, built to win," because not just me being black, but I already felt like that's just how the game goes for us. Like, when you come out the womb, you're already in this system where they expect for you to like fail. And me being 24 years old, me still being in college, already having 1 degree, I don't have any kids, I'm not a felon, like my background clear, like I beat the odds like time and time again. So that's really like the from the gist of it all. Like I've seen a lot from I've been in the courtroom twice, and like I said, I don't have anything on my record.
Okay.
Besides some tickets from maybe speeding or running a red light or something like that. But last year probably would have been one of the biggest obstacles I probably had to overcome. I had to go to court in Ohio.
Whoa.
And I remember like no. It was like 2 weeks before I got the court order. I had just got my job. I had just got laid off from my job. It was a temporary position. So I had just lost my job. Mm-hmm. And like on top of that, the lights got cut off at the house. The water got cut off. And it was just like
stuff like that happened.
Yeah, and it was just like everything came down at once.
Right.
And honestly, for me, it was like mentally I had a breakdown.
Right.
Like I can honestly say like I was in my room hurdled up like in the fetal position crying.
Right.
Like, and I called my dad, and I'm one of those people, I'm very prideful. Like I love to say that I did things on my own. I love to say I got through things on my own. I don't like asking unless I've given out every option that I had. I ran out of options. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I think I probably was at the lowest point of my life. And I called my dad, and I was just like, bro, like I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And me and my parents ain't never really been that close for me to really like talk about the things I go through sometimes.
Okay.
That was difficult for me to actually even call him.
Sure.
But he came down there like the next day, and me and him almost got into a fist fight because he didn't really know how to handle me at that time.
Really? And how old were you at the time?
Raw, like emotionally raw.
How old age?
Oh, this was 23
last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, he did the best he could, and we kind of got through it and everything. But I honestly think that was probably like the worst time for me mentally.
Right.
And but honestly, that was the best time for me though.
Okay.
Because I believe that when we're at our all-time lows, that's when we end up getting high. And around that time was when I created what Sabo is today. So for me, that was one of the biggest obstacles to overcome. Right. But it ended up pushing me or propelling me the furthest that I've been in my life.
Right. You mentioned earlier that it was hard just being a black man, right? Describe when you first, for your earliest recollection, when did you find out that it was quote unquote hard for you based off, I guess, how the world viewed you? Can you describe that first time that you realized, or the first time you had that talk? Or one of the earliest times you had that talk?
I remember I was in private school from like pre-K up to third grade, I believe.
Okay.
And I remember the year my mom took me out of private school, my third grade year. I got accused of stealing. Okay. And I ain't gonna say I ain't never stole nothing in my life, but at that time in my life, I wasn't doing nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing wrong, but I wasn't stealing, and I didn't steal anything. And I don't know, would it be wrong for me to say that they accused me because I was black? But I guess that's kind of what registered in my head at that time, like at that point in my life. Okay. Being in the third grade and actually witnessing other students steal candy and stuff, and I get accused of it. But I don't know if that really goes together with that. But I guess for me, that's kind of when it kind of registered in a sense.
What was the cultural background of that school? Like, it
was predominantly white.
Predominantly white school. So, and something happened where something was missing, and your name popped up as not only you were accused, but were you just a suspect, or were you literally accused for it?
No, I was the bad guy.
You was the bad guy.
Mama had to come up there and handle that.
And so everybody, okay, all right. And so basically, how did your mom respond to what was going on?
I guess that she explained to me like kind of how things work, how the world works in a sense.
Okay.
And maybe to them, I guess she probably tried to make it as if she was like punishing me.
Okay.
But when she went behind closed doors with them, she let them know how she truly felt. You know what I'm saying? Like she understood how the game goes. Right. But she knows how to play it a little better than others will.
She was your protector and disciplinary, so she had to discipline you and then go there and to protect you as well in front of them. Did she tell you how that experience was for her?
My mom's tough, so like she's just like, this is one of many. Like you gonna go through it. Right. You gonna go through it.
Right. And so now, like when you talked about the obstacles, did it kind of do anything to your esteem as a young kid? Did it intimidate you, or was it one of them? Okay, I'm here for the ride.
I ain't gonna say it intimidated me. Honestly, I can't even like really say like how I was thinking or what I really was feeling at that time.
Right.
To be honest, I can't really say.
The reason why I ask is sometimes when we talk about dehumanization quite often on the show, right? And you know, there's several forms of dehumanization. It's basically mistreating people, but people use different excuses to do it, right? Some of it's race, some of it's class, some of it's gender, some of it's all types of things, right? Some of it's geographical. You know, I don't like you because you're from over there. You know what I mean? But sometimes we try to get to that first inkling or the first time you can remember when somebody told you was going to get treated different by something that you can't even control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of us, we might take on that, well, ain't nothing I can do, so why try? And some of us take on that, ain't nothing I can do, so I'm going to try harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I sometimes I try to remember back, when did I have that talk? I remember that talk. I remember some of those talks or whatnot. I don't remember the first one.
Yeah.
But I remember those young ones to the point where you better look at them in the eye. Don't ever look down to the front. I'm like, why are you telling me this stuff, right? And then, you know, all those conversations of you got to work harder. They gonna expect you to fail. I'm like, who expected me to fail like this? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out who are these people. You know, and then, you know, I still have conversations with my mother to this day about what she saw, what she was exposed to. Because my mother, she graduated. I mean, not graduated, but she was. She grew up in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? The 50s and the 60s. She saw different things that happened to people that look like us. So, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, man. Living in this society that we're in right now, where the darker your skin is, some of the treatment is thrown onto you, regardless of what your character is, right? Yeah. And we talked about it last week. What I guess from last week, and a lot of people have PTSD. Yeah. Post-traumatic stress disorder. And what a lot of people may not understand is the people that we look up to, our elders, our parents, OGs in the neighborhood, we'd be surprised what they've been through for them to try to give us that. I guess that some of them call it looking out. Like, hey, man, this stuff is happening. You know, you need to look out for it. You need to protect yourself. This is how you conduct yourself type thing. Yeah. And a lot of kids may not understand the severity of that message. I know I didn't. You know, I just thought it was mama just being mama.
Now that you mention it though, like that makes me think, because I'm thinking like, when was the first time that it was clear to me? Yeah. But like, it's
the first one you can remember. The first time is, you know, ain't no telling.
I don't, because I'm like you were saying, like I now I really look back now at a lot of the things that people were imputing into me as a kid, and it's like now I'm really starting to grasp a lot of the messages now. Honestly,
of course.
Being my age now, it's like a lot of stuff I probably wasn't even really thinking about at 18, 19. I'm just now really starting to grasp hold to it, man.
Right. I mean, that's just some of the things that people have talked to us about. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense until my bad. Yeah, that's the phone, ladies and gentlemen, just in case y'all wonder. It doesn't make sense until those lived experiences start popping up, and then the words that our elders told us. It didn't make sense until we had the visual representation. You know what I mean? It's almost like you hearing about a movie, and then when you go see it, and you be like, "Oh, that movie, that stuff is real." You know what I'm saying? Those visual images. So, some of the things that your mom talked to you about, what are some times that you've been in a situation where you immediately thought about what she said?
Really, just with jobs. Any job I've ever had, like. Well, just anything she told me, I'm going to always have to work harder. Okay. And I think I've adapted that mindset to my work ethic. Right. Whatever job I've had to do, whether it was picking up dog poop or shining my boots in basic training, like I always said, I want to be the best to do it. And I think that's really like the main thing, because I can't really say that I've dealt with something to the point that it's just totally crushed my life or anything, but I just always try to make sure I play one step ahead of the rest, just so I could try to avoid certain situations as best as possible.
Of course.
I'm trying to think of another way to explain, or another example, I guess.
I would say too, I mean, while we're talking about it, in which ways have you reached out? Because I know we do a mentoring program in the city, right? So what are some of the conversations you might have had with a younger person that kind of jarred your memory of some of the things that you've seen as a kid? Because I know sometimes when we get really knee deep into their situations and some of the things that they have to deal with not only each other but with adults, disciplinarians, principals, teachers, all of this good stuff, I have flashbacks to the point I have just sit in the car for about 10-20 minutes.
Yeah,
it gets that vivid for me. You know what I mean? Where miscommunication with the teacher. I remember how that goes. Like, it's not if I'm saying something, it's not communicating. It's called talking back. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I didn't understand how people took information that came from me. I just thought I was just being a kid, just talking. You know, I mean, we talk about how we've, our interactions with people of authority. And sometimes when people have authority, and if they're not necessarily properly educated about culture and differences, they may abuse that authority.